Nobody would have ever said the first builder did that. It would have been on extensive.
Where to begin? Man, what do you do with this thing?
Party, we go to shows. No, this just isn't keeping up. Let's get crazy, all right? Ice, beer, food.
This thing's gonna be so loud, it's gonna slap him right in the face.
Oh my God.
Man, that's crazy. I love it.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Every day on my way to work, I always pick up some breakfast for myself. And I tend to pick up a little extra for the dogs on the streets. When I get to the shop, I usually have 3 or 4 dogs, extensive. We like to take care of business. That's inside the shop, outside the shop, it goes all the way around. And when I say outside the shop, I mean the neighborhood dogs.
A lot of them are super friendly. They just come up into the shop, walk around, look around, check out the new projects, and go on with their day.
Don't drop them off here. But the ones who need help, we got a big heart and try to help them all the time.
After a little bit of TLC, they become part of our gang. So just like everybody takes care of each other here at the shop, we got to take care of them and they take care of us.
My friend Dorian owns PSE, our diesel guys, says he has a customer with, a truck that has a few little issues. So today we're going to get it in and check it out. Hearing creaks and moans in a truck that high off the ground could mean multiple things. Could be just a little lube here and there, or it could be a catastrophe waiting to happen.
What's up, Bill?
How's it going,
man?
CJ.
How you doing, man?
Nice to meet you.
This is the one you were telling me about, huh?
That's the one, man.
Man, it looks good from here, but you got some problems underneath.
A lot of problems.
It's all yours now.
Well, man, let's check it out.
Yeah, I'll let y'all talk. I'm gonna talk to Rudy.
All right. You see a couple of issues just as soon as you walk up to it, huh? Just all the welding and grinding and everything up front. It just looks... Man, you can't have that. Oh, man.
Told you it was bad.
These drop downs are just super sketchy, man. There's nothing even holding this but bolts on the outside. Man, that holds the whole weight of the truck, your load, everything. There's nothing to hold this thing from flipping out. Man, that is really dangerous. A stock 2017 F350 with no lift weighs over 8,000 pounds. This is exactly what I didn't want to see. A truck this high that weighs this much, that somebody could be driving down the road next to my family and yours. I mean, it's super unsafe, and this is something that needs to be addressed immediately. Oh, man, I thought this was the bad part, but that's...
Needs a lot of attention back there, Bill.
You don't even have really even the plates bending. Bag mounts are all twisted. The 4-link bracket is about to rip off the axle. And whoever did this has no business building anything like this at all.
And the sad part is it hasn't even been driven, really.
Man, thank God you didn't get in it and drive it down the street and hook a trailer to this thing. It's just an accident waiting to happen.
It's not good. I go to shows and we travel all across the country, and this is one of the trucks that I use to do most of the traveling with, and I have a lot of weight back there that I pull around too, and a lot of money back there too, so if something happens, I don't know what I would have done. When I picked it up, I didn't know that it was that bad. It was that crazy.
What do you put behind this? You got a gooseneck trailer in this thing?
I got a 40-foot. I've got 2 matching rigs. I got a big 95 old body style, and I got another matching Tahoe. And they all go on that 40-foot, so I needed to do what I bought it to do.
Oh, you want to be able to actually use it?
Yeah. Need a usable dually. Right now, I can't even drive it. Feels like it's going to fall apart.
Man, I've seen this look a million times when you're giving someone the bad news. He paid good money for somebody to do this to his vehicle, and we got to redo it again. that's how the Tria Shane was built. Let's get this thing unloaded, man. We'll get going on it, and we'll make it right for you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's go make it official.
Let's do it.
You know, this is Texas, so everybody wants, custom vehicle. Because of that, there's almost an endless supply of customers that want to get work done to their vehicle, and there's plenty of shops around. Just take advantage of that. Don't really know what they're doing. They just want to make a quick buck, and this is a prime example. Unfortunately, we do see this quite often. You definitely have to be careful of who does your work for you. Especially on a project of this size, man, as heavy as this thing is, it's probably 8,500 pounds. That going at 70, 80 miles an hour and something breaking on this thing is going to somersault down the road and it's going to kill somebody. When we're done with this truck, this thing's not only going to look cooler, it's going to be way safer.
I didn't know Fisher-Price made lift kits.
This is scary. This is super dangerous. There is no kind of support here holding this to the frame other than, I think they have 1 or 2 bolts underneath here. That's it. Bolts on the outside, a couple of them are just for looks. They're just stuck in the whole silicone. Oh, man, it's really scary.
And please tell me he didn't drive this thing here.
Man, he didn't drive it. He's only drove it around the parking lot, maybe a quarter mile, half a mile. That's all the damage of just the stopping and starting with this much weight with some shady brackets like that.
I can't believe somebody sold him this job.
I mean, that's just, unfortunately, that's what, a lot of people don't know. They're driving around with stuff like this. I mean, that's really scary. There's definitely a few things that we got to address on this thing. One of the first ones is putting some support back into this, attaching it to the frame, making it super safe and strong. We can use what's here. The basic design is here. The geometry is, for the most part, correct. Built some supports, some nice tubular supports to connect each thing. We can powder coat it in blue to match all the rest of the truck. And that'll tie everything in together. Next we're just gonna pull the axle completely out. Let's start over fresh, cut everything off. The 4-link brackets, the bag brackets, I mean, all of it's trash. We'll build all new bracketry, incorporate some tube work in that also, so it looks cool and is really strong.
Everywhere you look, there's something going on.
At least we got a lot of stuff we can put on the Tria Shane.
Definitely get that extensive forest going.
There's gonna be a lot. Let's go, man. Let's get ready.
Alright. First thing we gotta do, before we lift this truck, we gotta release the air pressure out of the bags. Like that.
This is like a crime scene investigation. Tim and John got to go through every inch of this truck to find all the bad work, tear it all out. Then we can start to make things right.
Man, look at this. We got a rub mark here from the tire. If it would have rubbed even more, it would have eventually went all the way through and we would have lost air pressure in this corner and would have just been a disaster. When you removed that bag on that side, was it tight? Had a little rock to it. We got like 1/8 inch gap between the base of the bag and where it's supposed to sit. One turn and it came off. Look at that. Look how many threads was holding. Just one thread.
They're uneven cuts, even strip bolts that are welded together.
You know you're not supposed to weld bolts, right? Because they're weak.
You had to cut the bracket so it would fit.
You got a weak point on top, might as well make the bottom one weak too, huh?
Plate comes all the way down to here and over, here and over, and nothing in the back.
Hollow inside, huh?
Nothing tying them together. So all it is a big prop bar just peeling that metal away. You see,
that's why it's ripped right here and right there.
There's a bar 7 foot long. When that bar moves up, All it's doing is peeling this back like a tin can. This is the weakest point right here. It's just gonna start peeling that metal up. Where to begin? In order for John and I to even get started on this rear end, let's cut everything off of it that was done before, go back to stock, start over from scratch, and do it 100% right.
So we can rebuild it the right way. We're going to keep the existing drop-down brackets, but Tim and John are going to add a ton of strength to them.
Okay, so what I'm about to do is burn out a 4-inch by 4-inch hole here. That way it gives us access to the bolts we're going to add to this. So we can reach in here and put a nut on every bolt that we can. That way it makes it extra tight to the frame.
When we tore this down, there was a big gap between the bracket and the frame. There's still little gaps, so we filled it in with flat bar. Now that that's filled in, that gives it a solid mount. We bent this piece here, bolted to the frame, then we'll weld it all the way down. So what it's ultimately going to be is a cradle that sandwiches a frame, and have bars in between that make it 100% strong and sturdy.
Working on a previously customized vehicle is a lot more work to go back and fix than something you just start from scratch. Righting a wrong, in this case, a bunch of wrongs, have been a big part of my business. On the other hand, I like the challenge. It keeps us on point. Yeah, always ready. And good thing too, because we're always getting calls, come on over, we need some help. Hey, what's happening, man?
Oh, hey, what's up? Phil? Eric.
Nice to meet you, man. This yours, huh?
Yeah, this is mine.
Man, what do you do with this thing?
Party, we go to shows.
Yeah.
And, this just isn't keeping up. I got the trailer down in Florida. It pulled into my booth. It was pretty cool, towed behind this cool van. It was my birthday, had the for sale sign on it. Gave a little nudge to my wife, and here we are.
You just need something just to wake this thing up to draw the crowd over to your booth, huh?
Exactly, yeah. What I want it to be like, is when we show up, it's like, stealth has arrived. This badass trailer that we get ice, beer, food, everyone's hanging out.
I don't see any place here for any ice or any storage or anything right here.
No, it's pretty blank right now.
Man, I love the idea of a party trailer. I mean, the basics are here. We just got to expand upon it and make something over the top and just cool. Man, we can definitely wake this thing up. Like this grill, man. This was... did you find this?
Yeah, well, it fit, so I put it in there.
Carry on this thing. You got a party trailer, you gotta have music. You gotta have a lot of music. And maybe even some air suspension on this thing. Something where you can raise and lower when you're going off-road. We can get crazy with it.
Yeah.
If you're down for that.
Yeah. Crazy is what I want. Let's get crazy, all right? Whatever it takes to make something cool. I want people to come up to our booth. I want to be able to hear what's going on. I want to be able to project that sound as drinks, as food, people hanging out, music. I mean, this is going to be awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Go all out,
Man,
get this thing out here.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, sweet.
All right. Party trailer was a great idea. It's a great concept. It works okay. It draws some attention. But we're going to take this thing and just draw a lot of attention. This thing is going to be not just something people are going to talk about. Wherever show it's at, wherever event it's at, people are going to want to come see this in person. On a vehicle, you got to work around what's there. There's all kind of parameters to work with. Something like this, you just have a good time, only restricted by your imagination. And we're going to let our imagination just go crazy on this. You're creating a party and...
Looks like it's got sausage in it. Mine's better than yours. Need a cerveza. Need something.
Do you ever work?
We're just trying it out.
Make sure it works, huh?
Don't worry.
It's not lunchtime anymore.
Well, it's taco time now.
Yeah.
Well, this is the next project we're going to be doing right here.
Cool.
You know, this thing it's cool, but we're going to make it way, way cooler. We're going to make this thing party on wheels.
Fully functioning, one stop, make it, eat it, party.
Absolutely. You know, right now we just have an old wore-out grill, old smoker. That's it. No storage, no place for ice, no place for drinks. You know, new grill, new smoker, just something just crazy.
We have a tortilla maker.
Pretty cool. You?
Yeah, I'll go with the trailer everywhere. That'd be cool.
You know, next problem this thing has is suspension. This thing's almost riding on solid axle. We're going to put air suspension on this thing too. Going to car shows, events, and you know how loud some of those events get. So we want this to be the loudest. Not only loud, we want the lighting, we want cooking, eating, the total experience.
Cool, man. After this thing gets the suspension down, we can go to town. I see a bunch of like tower speakers around here.
We got room in here for a few subs. We can get in here, get playing some nice lows out for everybody.
Yeah, right out the bottom. Like maybe some acrylic on the top. You can light it up.
And cut cup holders into the acrylic.
That's an awesome idea. We were told to go crazy, so that's what we're going to do is go crazy on it. Let's make something just totally off the wall.
I think we got it.
I've done a couple things. We'll be all right.
All right.
All right.
Finish my taco. Start tearing this thing down, brother?
Yes, sir. I guess taco time's over. It's time to tear it up and build a new place to eat.
Let's do it.
Going to? Hey, easy, buddy.
Right now, we're going to go and pull all this wood out of here so Bill and the guys can do what they got to do.
Yeah. There it goes.
Easy enough.
Wow.
Good. Going up, bay 2.
For a regular trailer just going down the street hauling whatever, these axles work pretty well. But with them having that big tire on it, it makes it want to bounce more. There's no kind of shock system to it. The 4-link system is going to be a way better system, especially going off-road, little twists and turns. You know, you want a little more clearance out of it. It's going to ride a whole lot smoother than just one axle right here. Yeah, it's probably a good thing he's changing it. It's all broke right here. It's all cracked. It looks like it's been broke a couple of times. They just kept adding weld to it every time it broke.
At least it's at the right place now. Not even that heavy. No wonder it was bending up.
Yeah.
Check out.
Now we have the axle out of the way, we have the brackets out of the way. We can clean this all up and we can start fresh.
So we're gonna go ahead and cut the smoker off. It'd be nice and easy if we could just go ahead and cut around the circumference of it. But unfortunately, it looks like there's more welds underneath. Hope you got a smoking good deal on that one. This thing ever smokes.
Because this is a party trailer, it's about function as much as form. We need to smoke and grill like only Texans can. Something completely custom. So I made a call to the pros.
What's up, Bill?
What's happening, man?
What's up, bro?
These things look good, man.
Yes, sir. We got our beautiful heavy-duty barbecue safe smoker and a solid stainless steel industrial gas grill, man, that can handle the vibrations of the road. Built all by hand right here in Houston.
Craftsmanship looks great.
It's all primer for you, ready for that beautiful paint job you're going to put on it. And I'm excited to see what you guys can do with it.
Let's get it off and
Let's do
get
it.
it going. Time to get to work.
Yes, sir.
That's a real critical part of building this party trailer is getting the cooking and preparation areas all laid out right. We got some really cool custom grills made for this thing, and super important. This time around, we're gonna make sure every part has a purpose and everything is where it's supposed to be. To improve the functionality, we're putting the grill and the smoker on the back of the trailer.
What we're gonna do is take the existing barbecue pit and we're gonna drop it down, because if we were just to make these fit right here, it would be way up here. And you can't cook meat like that. You're gonna burn the chicken. This is a stronger joint than just butting something up and welding it all the way around. So we're gonna make a 45 here and then an offset 45 right here to kick back. Some people would just cut this off and just throw a tube down and kick her over. That's not how we do things here at Extensive. Woo! You need me to hold it, Jimmy? Pick up on it so I don't mind. Oh! I was just gonna get a hammer. That works too.
We're gonna use 3x3 steel so it'll hold up all that weight. Alright, so I see we dropped them down about 8 inches, so we're not having to reach up too high. Go ahead and mount these pits and drill some holes for the mounting bolts. Yeah, straight. Whoa, down a little bit. Hold up. That looks good, huh, Jamie?
Looks nice. Step down the frame. Everything. It's gonna make it super easy to cook.
Perfect height, yeah.
You know, Tim and John have really been putting a lot of work on the F350, but it's heading in the right direction. Now they're lining up the rear axle to get it connected to the 4-lane.
We're doing now, we got the axle where it needs to be. And with the bars that we have, we're designing some brackets that go around the rear end and connect the bar to the rear end. So right now, John's just kind of sketching something out. We'll give it to Rudy. He'll burn us 4 of them out. We'll punch a hole in it and put them on the rear end. Looks good.
4. Good beef jerky.
Hey, boss. Hey, what's the plan?
We need 4 of these.
For a truck this size, we always try to over-engineer it. In that case, we use 1/4-inch plate for all the brackets and tabs on this truck, which will make it a whole lot stronger. We're gonna make sure that's flush with the rear end. When we do that, we know this is in line with this one, that one's in line with that one, because this is straight all the way across. We always want to double check all these measurements to make sure everything's 100%. When you look at this tire, it'll match that tire perfectly and they'll track together all the way down the road. If not, you'll get it tracking like this and you'll see the back end of the truck either going that way or that way because the axle's not exactly centered.
The reason we weld the insides first before we box it is it makes it a lot stronger. There's a lot more weld to the axle. A lot of people will make these already boxed in. They'll place them on the axle. Well, you can only weld the outsides. You cannot get to the inside. So we like to do it like this, so it's stronger. Some pretty good welds there. Give myself a pat on the back.
Now that John's got all this welded in, it's really strong. This with some pipe rolled across here, some other pipe crossing it, it'll be fully welded all the way around, and it's gonna make a shape that's gonna make it extra strong.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna trace this one where it's gonna intercross each other. We'll cut this one will weld to this one, and this one will continue all the way to the rear end.
This is gonna be extra fun.
The only problem with running all this pipe work like we do is you never get a simple 90-degree cut or a 45-degree cut. Everything's a weird cope that you gotta do to make one pipe tie into the next. It's never really easy. There's always a challenge. But if you take your time and cut a little bit at a time, grind a little bit at a time, make it fit right, it'll just make the weld weld look a whole lot better with a tight fit.
Time. Just takes time.
This really rough shape. We replaced all the old sketchy rear metalwork with a brand new rear suspension. We're gonna mock it all up with the existing 4-lane bars. That looks like shit, man. Hot thread here.
This bar is not only short, it's also bent at the end.
From a splice. I guess they ran out of material spliced. I mean, that's one thing you don't do, is splice a 4-lane bar.
If we'd have left this like this and like this, nobody would have ever said the first builder did that. It would have been on extensive.
So we can't have that. We gotta make it look right and perform right.
So what we're gonna do is go ahead and build 2 new upper bars for this. You see right here where this one's all bent. They had this much of one stick left over and then this much of another stick left over. It looks like they just butted it together, beveled it, and then welded it to make one long pipe. The way it's welded together right here, it gives it a point to where it's been heated up. It could be brittle, or it could just break off altogether because it won't hold. So we don't want to take a chance in something they spliced together. So we just went and got a whole new piece of DOM. That's going to make it what we need, as strong as we need, as straight as we need, and it's going to... These are our new weld-in bungs. And the weld will go from there to there, so when it gets powder coat and everything is done, it'll look real nice and smooth. Perfect. All right, John, weld it out.
When this party trailer shows up to events, the owner wants this thing to grab all the attention. Heath and John are gonna make this thing happen with custom seats, bar tops, and a ton of audio.
Got it? Yep. Bingo then. It's all you. For the countertop, what we're actually gonna do is make an acrylic sandwich. It's gonna be lit up in the center with LEDs. The hard part is gonna be cutting the brittle material without breaking it. That'll work. Are you lining up on this corner? Yes. Well, then we're there. The last thing we have left to do is to cut out the opening for the ice chest. Got this piece of MDF cut out as a template. Look at that. All we're gonna do is transfer it into plastic now. Nice. The top, so we can get the lighting in it. I'll use the black plastic as my template and just follow my plastic around and it'll be a perfect copy of what I've already got. Continue the process all the way down as we get all the pieces made. Once they're done, all we're gonna do is get someone to come clean up our mess. Yeah, good luck with that. All right, see what we got here. Nice. We decided to go with these boat seats. They can handle any kind of water, any rain, any mud, so that'll work out pretty good, but we can't leave them alone. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the company logo and we're gonna put this on a piece of acrylic and light it up, mold it into the back of the seat, and that'll look pretty cool. All right, we've got all my badges made. So the next thing I gotta do is I gotta take and attach them to the back of the seat. So I'm gonna use some 1-inch PVC and attach it to the inside so that I can screw into that and not into the frame of the seat. I'll attach the badge to it, and these are just going to be some transfer marks. When the filler hits them, it'll pick up the marker, and then when I pull it off, that line will be in the bottom of my piece, so as I'm sanding, I know to come up to that line and stop, and that keeps everything straight. I worked at a trade school for probably almost 10 years, and one of the hardest things was teaching them to sand. Anytime they looked at sanding, one of the hardest things to do is just kind of get in your head and know that I've got to sand this. It's your space, spend your time, and just go to town. Now that we got all these logo badges roughed in and ready to go, next thing we're going to do is put the party in them. We'll take them apart, get my elephant knife out, and get to carving on it until I can get these LED strips to fit. Once those are in, we'll get it wrapped, get it sealed up, and get them installed on the trailer. us this project, he told us one thing. This thing had to be the loudest thing in the park, the loudest thing at the show, the loudest anywhere it went. The name of the game here is just as many speakers as you can fit. Anywhere you can find a spot, you cram a speaker and make it loud. This thing's going to be so loud, it's going to have people thinking, what in the hell were they thinking when they did that? It's going to slap them right in the face.
You know, the bar top and seats, they're done. And we got the party trailer back from Powder Coat. We just got to hook everything up, and it's tailgate time.
Tom and I are doing the final install of the air tanks, bags, compressors.
Hooking up lights used to be difficult, but LEDs have made it easier by 100-fold. Small, waterproof, and durable enough to go anywhere. I'm adding about 170 feet of LED lights. And because you can never have too much sound, I'm putting in a soundelier. I hope the owner has some earplugs.
To say we worked a lot on this trailer is a total understatement. We put everything we can put in on this thing, and today we're going to give it back. What's happening, man?
What's up?
Man, appreciate y'all meeting me out here at 1886 Humboldt Backyard Bar. This place is all about having a good time, having a couple of drinks, and just kicking back. What a better place to bring your trailer.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me out here. This place looks awesome.
Well, man, you said go crazy with it. We went insane with it. I can't wait for you to see this thing.
Oh, yeah. That's
It's
awesome.
definitely over the top.
That's so cool. I can't wait to see it. This is going to be
You
great.
ready to check this thing out?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh my. Dude, are you kidding me? Look at that thing. Holy shit. Oh my god. Wow. I've never even seen speakers like that before. This is just crazy.
Well, you wanted something to draw some attention, right?
Oh, dude. That thing's insane. I love it.
What's up, guys?
You have something to do with this thing?
A little bit. You all right?
Great.
What's up,
Good
man?
now.
As you see here, we touched every part of this trailer, put air suspension on the back, so it's totally adjustable with a big, heavy 4-link on it, so it looks mean and nasty, too.
Yeah, I love the 4-link. I can't wait to really get under there and look at everything you did. I can't wait to get it off-road, drop it down, bring it up. This is going to be perfect.
You had old smoker in the back and a grill up front that you found somewhere. I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
My boy's pit maker got you hooked up with the smoker and grill, centralized in the rear spot so you can, keep all the cooking back to the back and just worry about the party in the front.
The old barbecue, it was trash. Total garbage. And this new stuff, it's insulated. It's got all these layers. These guys are going to set me up with everything I need. And it's just so much better than before.
When it first came in, we sat down, we had tacos on it. First thing we figured out that it wasn't very comfortable to sit down and eat on. So we had to get comfortable seats in it.
It's such a good idea to use boat seats because instead of the wood, now I don't have to worry about it. No matter what I throw at it, I'm good to go.
Bill gave us one other thing he told us. It's got to be loud. We aim to power 6 or 7 cars, we put it all into one. 6x9s down the side, really just firing right into your gut. We've got the 10s overhead. We got woofers down on the bottom. This thing is so loud, you'll be drawing people for at least a mile away.
It is loud.
That is
Make it a little bit better, we put lights everywhere. We even lit up the countertop. Lights in the seats, lights around all the rest of the speakers. This thing parties all day long.
The way they put my logos on everything and they light up, the attention to detail is just unreal. It looks like everything in excess. Exactly what I wanted.
You definitely got that. How about we fire this thing up and really see what it's about?
Oh, yeah.
Many 2-pound burgers or what?
Heck yeah, man. Texas-sized burgers for a Texas-sized party.
Wow.
When Eric is checking this thing out, I can tell he's just amazed by what he's seeing right now. Check out the... I can't believe how much sound those put out. It's unbelievable.
Overall, I am just totally blown away. I asked him to go crazy with it, and this is just totally over the top. Built in. This is crazy. Thank you for everything. This thing's freaking awesome.
You got it, man.
I'm bringing it out to SEMA, Glamis. I'm going to put it out front of my shop up in New Hampshire. We're just going to have a party everywhere we go. Party on wheels. Thanks for everything.
Mm-hmm. on the 2017 F350 is in way better shape than the rest of it. But we still have to clean up the shoddy metalwork before we even think about sending this out with our name on it.
All we're trying to do here is knock the high spots out of it. We're not trying to make it smooth and grind it to where it's going to be paintable. They're going to come back and put some body filler on it and be ready to paint.
Well, Tim did a great job grinding it off and cleaning it up for us. The next step that we will do, we'll come down with some Bondo. One nice trick that I've learned is for curves like these, you might just rub the Bondo on your finger like this, run it across, and you get a flatter surface that blends into the curve. And there comes the sanding next, which I'm finna start off with 36 grit, and then come back with 80 and finish it off. Now we're getting ready to prime it. The good thing about the primer is you'll be able to see some of the imperfections that are around here. Scratches from the 36, stuff like that will have to get addressed again. So there's no going back. Here it has to be done right, no matter what.
You guys did a great job on this. This thing's looking good. Ready to blow this thing apart and get it painted and coated, huh? Mm-hmm.
What the? What is it? A bolt weld on another bolt. Just when I think I've seen it all. This bolt's function was to hold this hanger to the frame, but I don't know what that bolt's function was. That's something new to me. That's custom. I guess we got a new berry for the tree.
Now we got everything stripped down. We're going to send it out to powder coat, send the rest of the body work. In a couple days, we put it back together.
So where are these going?
Gotta find a new branch. Years ago, there used to be a big tree in the back of the lot, and everything we've cut off just get thrown around this tree. Eventually, a big storm came, knocked that whole tree down. Was coming up, started welding up here, and that's how the Tree of Shame got started. All this is stuff that other shops have done that we felt was unsafe. So then over the years, as you added another piece, another piece, another piece, it's now growing like an oak tree. It's just growing up and up and up. True to form today, it just grows a little bit bigger, gets a couple more branches onto it.
I think that's it. Shoot, 20 more years, it'll be as tall as the other one.
Maybe taller.
5 years?
5 years.
All right, well, shoot. Let's get back to it.
Bring this in.
Got that, right? I know somebody got that.
You know, there's a lot of work had to be done in this big blue F350, but now's the time to give it back to CJ and his family.
Art Museum.
It's a cool spot, huh?
It is. I like the murals and everything, but you gave me a call, and I don't think we're here to look at paintings.
Definitely not going to look at paintings today. Got something else for you to look at.
Yeah.
You ready to check this thing out?
I'm ready to check it out.
CJ has a whole 350 to join the team.
It's hauling. Man, that's crazy. I love it. That looks good. Hell yeah, man. God.
I know it's been a while since you've seen that,
It
right?
has, man. That looks so good. That is a killer setup. Killer setup. That's going to look awesome at shows. Hey.
Hey.
My wife's here. Surprise. What a surprise. Awesome work. Looks good.
Thank you.
Look who it is.
Little one, what's up? Bill had the whole family here, the whole fleet, and it was just super cool.
CJ, when this thing came in, you know, you couldn't even drive it, much less put this thing to work. Once we started getting into this thing, tearing it apart, it was just nightmare after nightmare.
Like opening a can of worms. It just never stopped. We went from front to back and got it rolling further now.
Safety wasn't a big concern with the last shop, I guess.
As you can see right now, problem solved.
Six
all in the car.
Yep.
You see on the front, front axle was just garbage.
Yeah, it was bad.
It just looked like it was going to fall apart any second. We ground off all the old welds, re-welded everything, body worked and painted, made this thing look good. This thing's coming at you, you see it, so it's got to look good.
Yep.
And from that, you see the new 4-link bars going all the way back to the new bracketry on the axle. They had spliced together 4-link bars. Get that out of there.
Yeah.
That's all on our tree of shame.
Yeah. Looks good.
So we got it all bolted to the frame nice and strong, and we have tube work underneath there, connecting from side to side. Not just, strong to do its job. It's got some style to it.
Definitely. And now it looks amazing. The tubing, the support, it's just good that he went through every inch of this truck to make sure that it was perfect.
As far as the rear axle, we just started fresh, cut everything off, welded everything up, and just made you some cool bag mounts, 4-link mounts, and it's all artwork. It's a piece of art underneath there.
And now we get to haul with it.
That's it. Put it to work. Looking back on this project to see how bad it actually was to where it is now, having to rebuild all the underneath of this thing to make it safe for CJ and his family, it's just something we had to do. We had to make sure it's right.
Bill, man, you killed it. From the suspension, everything you touched, amazing work, amazing work. I get to haul, my family's safe in it. I couldn't be happier, man. To be able to use this truck and have my family with me on these trips is awesome. I feel safe, and I have a very reliable truck to get from my house to each show.
Most of the time when you're building a project, you start fresh. This project we get in A to C and ended up going all the way to Z. There's a bunch of hidden issues that we had to address. That's what we do. Make it safe, make it cool, little step. So how much more money do I owe you? This little puny bumper.
And I ain't gonna cut it.
This thing's finally starting to look like something.
1934 Buick.
It looks perfect.
I'll tell me we're cutting this up.
We'll take this original engine out, put a late model Chevy in it.
We're gonna piss some people off.
We're gonna show it the respect it deserves.
Get some shocks in here.
He wants this thing to be able to drop on the ground also.
Holy that's beautiful. And it's not yellow.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
That's them, huh?
That's it, man.
8-inch springs?
Yes, sir.
That's what we need. It's perfect. It's going to put this thing in the perfect ride height. Let's go ahead and get these things underneath here. Get little one. Let's knock this thing out. Let's get it bolted up. Everything is extra large on this 1996 International dump truck. It's one of the biggest builds we've ever done size-wise.
All right, let's go.
We have these leaf springs arched an extra 8 inches. It's not every day we get to convert a huge old work truck into a show-quality, flatbed, militaristic truck. But man, when we're done, there's not going to be another one like it.
That was kind of difficult.
That was a little difficult. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's do it real quick. I know that look.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to do to the dump truck. A lot. Rear suspension, parallel 4-link with the big, huge triple convoluted bags.
You're doing the whole rear end, hangers, 4-link, bag mount, shock mount. It'll take twice as long to do the back of that truck.
Twice as long to do everything on the truck. Build the bumper, paint the thing, the whole interior.
Wasn't the engine really messed up?
Yes, that reminds me too. I put a call in with the one-way diesel guys. They're coming down, and they're going to tidy up the engine compartment and get this thing running good. At least we're getting a custom-made bed for it. It's going to be really cool. Front suspension's done, but, everything's taking so much longer. Everything's bigger, heavier than we're normally working with.
I have a feeling you're fixing to tell me, like, you need it tomorrow or something.
We got a little time on it, but it's getting way, way behind for sure. Ready to go get after it?
Well, let's go.
Let's go do it, man. We already tore the bed off, made and installed the hangers. Now we can get going on the rear suspension. We got a super huge truck, so we need some super huge bag mount. You know, we usually use 3/16 D plates for the bag mounts, but on this one, we're gonna make bigger, thicker circuit plates out of 5/16. This is the foundation of everything. This is gonna support every bit of the truck's weight, so this thing needs to be super strong. Then we'll have our spacer to simulate the bag when it's at ride height. To mount that up underneath the frame, where they're going to be. And this thing looks so beefy in the back. I want to continue the bag mounts to look beefy too. So I want something just mean looking, right?
Hell yeah.
So I think we ought to come right off the axle up to the bag mount, and then all the way across to the other bag mount, and then down to the axle.
Okay.
Just with two.
Got it.
We'll just bend it. We're not going to roll it or anything because it's a boxy truck, so we'll continue with just square bends. It's still going to look really cool and be really strong. Looking good, man. We got the diagonal link, got the 4-link, got the bag mounts. You know, one more step.
Shock time.
That's it. We need a bottomed out measurement of our shock. So that's why we made a quick jig. Makes it super easy to duplicate. You know, with the really large size of this truck, you know, it's going to need some good dampening shocks, especially with the big triple bellow bag. You want something that's going to control the bounciness. I mean, that's basically what a shock does. It controls the rebound of the suspension. You know, sometimes it just looks like we throw a shock in place. Oh, the building suspensions, placing shocks. You learn what to do and what not to do, and you improve each and every time. Every vehicle is a little different as far as weight, the angle of the shock, how stiff the shock is, relating to the weight of the vehicle, to what type of suspension, how long the suspension bars are. I mean, there's variables on everything. You know, we got some good stiff shocks at the proper angle. This thing's gonna ride really, really good.
Hey man, what's going on?
A good trip for you?
Oh, absolutely. Great roads all the way up to Houston from Oklahoma.
Man, I sure appreciate you coming down.
I think we may have built exactly what you need for this build.
Cool, man. Let's check it out. A lot of times, we just build the new truck beds. But interest of time, I designed one that Billy made just for this truck. Man, first thing you notice is that big wheel well.
Exactly. I hope you got a big enough tire to fit this.
Definitely.
I'll tell you, man, when I saw the drawings, I was concerned, but I know you, it's all good. Got your gooseneck hitch, your receiver hitch built in, so be able to tow and haul with that big rig.
Yeah, this thing's cool. You know, this isn't off the shelf.
It's not off the shelf, I'll assure you. Certainly.
Get off and get it on the truck. How much does this thing weigh, you think?
I don't know. I hadn't built it before.
What's going on, man?
Man, I need your help, buddy. This truck is just big, mean, huge lip, big tires. This little puny bumper.
Man, that ain't gonna cut it.
I want to leave the holes, the hooks, the bumper mounts, everything here. Okay. So all I'll have to do is split it right here, straight down here, and then straight across.
We'll just carry that all the way across.
We'll split it like that, and then all we have to do is add 8 inches in the middle. Okay. They're all right back together.
I'm gonna go ahead and section in the middle. We'll have a much more aggressive bumper that's gonna look perfect on this truck. All right, so I got my filler piece now to go ahead and connect my bottom of the bumper to the top of the bumper where I section it. If I fit this properly, I won't have any issues down the road when I'm going to weld all this together. Because if it's not lined up, I'll be fighting the metal the whole time I'm welding it. All right, so I got my centerpiece in. I'm gonna go ahead and start tacking the edges right here to make it a perfect fit.
Okay, so I got the bumper looking pretty good. The 8-inch section in there. I'm really happy with the way it fit. So the next thing to do is go ahead and put the side pieces on. You just gotta do it by eye. I like that fancy footwork. It's pretty close. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack it in. So everything looks pretty good. Everything's welded solid. The next step is go ahead and mount it up to the truck and see how it looks.
The owner, John, wants a really unique truck. You know, one that can win trophies, but also get to work. So we're gonna add a winch behind the bumper. With something this size, you never know when you're gonna need one.
Okay, so now that I got the bumper mounted on here in section, everything's good on it. I'm gonna go ahead and start mounting my winch. Try to get the winch centered up somewhat behind the bumper. So first thing is to do is go ahead and start building the brackets and go ahead and mount the winch. Man, that's perfect.
Get this over to Rudy, get it burned out, and get it on the truck.
Winch bracket, I'm gonna go ahead and stick in the brake and put a 90-degree brake on it. Once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and bring it to the truck and fit it up. Now that I got my winch bracket bolted to my winch, so I'm going to go ahead and put some tack welds on it. Then I'll go ahead and put my bumper on it and check my clearance. So this is pretty much a slide for the cable. Basically, we're trying to center this up with the winch. We don't want it too high, we don't want it too low. We want it to be centered so when it winds up or unwinds, that it's not in a bind. So it's pretty important to get this pretty close to the center of the winch, the drum, and then it'll be right. I overcut it just a little bit so the winch cable doesn't fray or catch on the metal. Pretty happy with it, looks good, looks right where it needs to be, so he'll be able to help people out or help himself out in a bind.
Big part of transforming the overall look of this 1996 International dump truck is so now it's 9 feet long, which is about 3 feet shorter than it was. 9 foot, 109 inches. We're cutting the frame and boxing it in so it'll look like it came from the factory like this. And it'll be just as strong. Close this gap up. You know, in the early days of a big build like this, it can be hard to see how we're gonna turn the old dump truck into a mean military looking truck. But you gotta keep the faith and just make it happen bit by bit. You know, when a custom car guy and an antique come together, that's just a combination to make something really cool and over the top. You know, Javier's in a lowrider club. He's got to show up and show off. He's got to keep his rep up. We built a ton of cars for Javier, like this 46 Chevy right here. And anytime he calls, we're happy to help.
Hey, Bill. How's it going, man? Good to see you.
Hey, real good. Good to see you.
Man.
Good to see you. Man, your cars are looking good.
Oh, man, thanks. Remember this one?
Yeah, that thing's still looking good, too.
And you did a great job on that. I'm a welder by trade, and I know his welds are perfect. Funny to say that, but
for you now.
And you've done 3 for me. I've got one more for you, though.
Let's go check it out.
Let's go.
Man, that's a good-looking car.
1934 Buick.
This thing's like new.
80 years old. I found it in North Carolina. Guy had it in the garage for years.
This thing was top of the line back in the day. You don't find many 1934 Buick Model 57s looking this original, this clean. Well, what do you want to do to this? I mean, it looks perfect.
You know, Bill, I like driving. And right now, I can't drive this thing. The car's not reliable. It overheats. So I want to be able to go where I want to go and not have any problems at all.
So what's under the hood now?
It's straight A. You want to look at it?
Wow, this thing is cool.
Pretty old, isn't it?
Straight 8, you don't see that a lot.
No.
So you want to take this original car, take this original engine out, and replace it with something else.
Bill, that's what I want to do.
This is one of the very few times that I'm a little hesitant about taking this car apart.
We're gonna piss some people off.
Definitely. Some people are gonna be mad.
You know, a lot of people don't like changing parts. They like to keep cars all original, but I like driving them. So
Original engine out, put a late model Chevy in it. That way you got your reliability, fuel economy, power, something you can just get in and drive wherever.
that's what I want, Bill.
That's what you're gonna get. If we're already going that far with this thing, we might as well put some air suspension on this thing and get it down really low. I know how you and your boys like to ride low.
We roll fast, but we also roll low.
Gotta lower it.
You gotta lower it.
You know, to even get this thing a little lower, we'll put a little bit lower profile tire and take these wheels and change the color. Just make it stand out a little more.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's got to be it. We can't chop the top or cut the interior out or paint it a different color or anything. I mean, we're already committing blasphemy with the Buick people. You ready to piss some people off?
That's why I called you, Bill.
Man, bringing a car in this old, this original, this cool, it's a shame just to do anything to it other than wash it. And we're just going to tear it all apart. I have my reservations, but I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it's us that's going to get our hands on it. We're going to show it the respect it deserves. And, you know, this car is so original. There's nothing been done to it. So we're going to be the first ones to do that. All our parts and pieces that we're going to build are going to make sure the car is done perfect.
Didn't you guys have one of these when you were little? Brand new? Man, first gotta wash this thing, clean it up a little bit, a little maintenance, right?
Customer's got a different idea on that one.
Don't tell me we're cutting this up.
That's what he wants, man. The problem with this thing is the straight 8 in it is just not reliable for him. He wants something he can just get in, you know, turn the key, start it up, cruise wherever he wants to go, and not have to worry about all the issues that come with the old technology here. So what we're going to do is pull this out, put a late model LS in it, something he can just get in it, hit the key, and go wherever he wants, not have to worry about overheating or anything. We're going to replace the rear end, give him something a little more strength to it, man. This one definitely won't hold up to the power LS puts out. You know, new drive line, the whole new running gear, disc brakes, front and back. He wants this thing to be able to drop on the ground also. So we got to replace the straight axle in the front of this thing, replace it with independent front suspension and air suspension on top of that. So when he gets where he's going, drop this thing on the ground.
Hell yeah.
Man, you really don't have any issue cutting this thing up, huh?
If it ain't cut, it ain't custom.
I hear you, man, but you know, we want to give it a little extensive style. You know, something maybe like a coil pack cover to maybe go with the styling of the car.
It'll make not as many people hate us for putting an LS on this thing.
It doesn't matter what we do. They're going to hate us for pulling this one out. Let's get this thing up on the rack, start tearing it apart. Cool. First things first, the little one's got to rip out the old suspension and then the motor.
Man, it's crazy this old car has a gearbox style mechanism on the top of it. Usually they just have a bushing and a straight bolt, but since this is definitely not a gearbox, it's more than likely something with gears and oil. Man, they were smart back then. Everything's pretty much off the bottom. Now we can go ahead and just get this grill off. Then we can pull the engine out. Whew, that was heavier than I thought. Man, dude, look at all those springs.
And they don't really make them like this anymore, do they?
Nah, they don't at all. Here, let's get this on so we can get this motor out of here.
All right.
Back it out. It was like a Cummins engine, so huge.
I don't think I've ever seen one like it, man.
I wonder if Al Capone used this car.
Probably not, man. We don't see any bullet holes in this engine.
Designing the suspension on this old school Buick definitely has some challenges. None of our off-the-shelf parts are gonna work, so Ryan's gotta get busy by making all custom parts.
We're gonna start now with making the mounts for the two links. As you can see what we get to work with here, we would typically just make our own cross member, but with the structure and everything that's going on here, I don't think it's necessary. We can reinforce this and build brackets off of this, and it will work just as well, and it will look great. That's perfect. Taking my templates over to Rudy so you can burn them out. Hey, dude. What's up? Is that quarter? That's quarter. That's quarter. I was gonna have you cut two of these out for me, so I could just cut this while you were doing that, but since that's quarter, I'm just gonna make you cut all of them out for me. I know you're not doing anything over there.
That's what I'm here for, right?
Appreciate you.
Once I get all my curves and lines figured out, I'll trim everything up, transfer it over into the program, cut Ryan's pieces out, clean them up, take them over to him.
So after I get my pieces cleaned off, get all the slag chipped off of these, I'll take the template and mark the lines where I need a bend. I'll use that other little template that I made. I'll take it over to the big break and I'll just slowly bend it until I get the right radius that I want. Everything we do is trial and error. I'd like to get it on the first time, but I don't always work out that way. Cut that out with the plasma cutter. And tack it in. Alright, so we got the plates welded into the frame, stiffen it up. Also gave us a mounting point for our two link tabs. The tabs basically will weld to the frame, and this is going to be your mounting point. This is your pivot point here. So this is where it's going to connect to the rear end. We'll start here and move our way to these other cars are built and just so rigid. It's a really rough ride. This would be like night and day difference. This would be riding on a cloud versus riding in a wagon barrel down a gravel road, so I think what we're doing here is a little better.
Dang, man.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man.
This thing is rough, dude.
The diesel in this dump truck came to us in rough shape. There was a lot of creative fixes and even garden hose under the hood. John, the owner, wants to keep this engine and make it reliable, so I asked the Wells family to come on in and get this thing running right.
Bro wasn't lying, was he?
No, I can see why they call it the dump truck.
This thing is terrible, man. Got some electrical tape there.
On a fuel hose? That's a hazard just waiting to happen.
Yeah, we've got our work cut out for us, man. First thing first, let's get this big honking piece of trash off here. Let's clean that up with a newer updated intake.
Help it breathe a little more?
Yeah, get a little more power out of it. We need to change out all the radiator hoses, get all this stuff cleaned up. Watch out! It'll give it a little more appeal under the hood.
That insulation is not going to work. We're going to have to rip that out. We'll probably have to do something about the heat, so we'll heat wrap this sound pipe. What we have here is exhaust wrap that's a firewall, getting your feet nice and hot. It also helps clean up your engine bay and make it look a lot nicer. All right, now we got all the ugliness out of it. It's time to start cleaning her up and moving forward. What we have here is a K&N air filter. They are really good about airflow. They allow air to get in and keep the most dirt and grime out of the engine. She's a lot better than she was.
That's right, bro. Let's get the hose on there. Last thing we gotta get taken care of, the safety hazard of this wiring.
Yeah, I'd hate for something bad to happen there.
These wires, when they're bunched together, can cause a break in the circuit and them to short out. The short, it can create a spark, and right here by the fuel system, it's a terrible thing to happen. So I'm gonna trim this off, put us a butt connector in here, a heat shrink one, so we can keep this sealed off from the elements. Move the wiring and take the slack out in other places so it's a smoother transition from here to main harness. And then get it all nice and zip tied out of the way so it doesn't look like trash. Well, that's it, man. I think we got it all.
We ended up having to do a few extra things to it, but I think it was well worth it. Now it's not going to catch on fire.
It looks 10 times better, a lot safer. It's ready to go, man.
School bus yellow isn't going to cut it on the dump truck. It needs a big color change to give it that militaristic, overall mean look.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. I got the color for the old dump truck. A metallic gun barrel gray is really going to be the way to go on this. Not just that, but I think I want to go with the two-tone.
Two-tone?
Black bed, black running boards, and the very, very roof I want all black also.
Damn, it's gonna look enojado.
What's that?
Real mean. Real mean.
That's it,
right,
buddy. Do it to it.
Got it.
I want something on this truck that's really gonna stand the test of time. I don't want army green. I don't want the Desert Storm tan. The gunmetal gray is definitely going to make this thing look really cool, give it an aggressive look, and still be custom. John, the client, said he wanted this international dump truck to be unique. We're definitely heading in that direction. Now it's time for the custom flatbed.
Next project is getting this thing on the truck, which is not going to be an easy task because it's got such a long bed in the back we can't pick it up from the rails.
You got to spend extra time to do every little step. You know, just picking the bed up is just one more example of how much work goes into something like this. I'm about to see if it'll work.
Gunmetal gray, the black, it's just going to tie together perfectly. Ready? Yeah. We'll bolt it down from there. Go down.
This is a big ass bed. This thing's finally starting to look like something.
It definitely gave it the industrial look that he was looking for,
right? Definitely no more school bus now. This thing looks mean. Man, it's a good day. We'll get the rest of this thing tomorrow, mount this bed, start building the running boards on this thing.
Good night.
This truck's so tall, we're going to need some extra steps going in. So we're going to make some running boards / steps, and I'd like to make it one solid piece. The problem with that is the cab's 7 foot long, and our equipment's running boards out of 2 pieces. It just takes extra time to get everything 100%, and this truck flexes a lot, so over time it wouldn't line up as if it would if it was one piece. I'm gonna go see my old buddy Ernest at Diamond Sheet Metal. He always helps us out. I've known Ernest since I was a kid. He's one of the Northside experts I can always count on.
What we got going on?
Man, I'm working on Old International. Thing's way off the ground. It's a huge truck.
Way off the ground, all right.
So I need some running boards / steps integrated in it.
Okay.
I need 2 pieces 7 foot out of 14 gauge.
We can break it up to 12 foot. 10 foot, whatever you need.
Well, I only need 7. I know you got the big brakes, the big shears. So whenever I can't do it, I come see you.
We can have it.
Well, thank you, man.
All right.
Give me a call, man, when you got it.
I'll do it, man. Take care. When Bill shows up in my shop, I know it's something I got to hurry up and do, so I usually stop, produce whatever he wants. Back in the 70s, that's how long I've been knowing Bill. He used to lower bikes, stuff like that, and I knew he had a great future in it because if he can do it with a bicycle, he can do it with a car. We're making all these marks, they got to be right on the money. These are where the brakes are going to be. If you don't mark them off right, we got to start all over. We got to mark here with a circle, it's going to be bent up. No circle, it's going to be bent on the other side, bent down. If you don't bend these things right, all the money and material is wasted.
Undercarriage of this old school Buick is structurally different from most of the vehicles we work on. They just don't make them like this anymore.
You know, there's not a whole bunch to the rear of these cars. It's real thin sheet metal and a lot of wood, so we don't have a lot to work off of, and I don't want to just weld straight to the frame rail because they're like 10 gauge. It's real thin. So I'm making a foundation basically to be able to, build my rear suspension off of. What this is going to do is act as part of my frame. We'll get some bag brackets on there, some shocks, diagonal link, and we'll have a brand new suspension on the rear of this car. That's it. Let's do some shocks. Let's get some shocks in here. With the way that I'm putting the shock and where it's going to be placed, I just want a bag that's never going to hit it. Even though we do a bunch of air suspension here, every application is different for the most part. You know, the concept is the same, but actual building it and getting into it and making it functional and making it work and the geometry and staying the same, it's all different. That's what keeps this job, you know, interesting and makes it fun to come to work every day because it's not that repetitive, same old, every single day. But it's done back here and now we get to move on to the front. We got the lower control arm bolted up and the spindle bolted up. As you can see, where the frame comes and where my lower control arm is, there's no room for a bag, there's no room for anything. So, just like everything else, we're gonna have to make it work. Decompressed with no air in the bag is gonna be 3 inches, right? I'll take this 3-inch block, describe a line all the way across. Judging by the looks of this right here, my tie rod's gonna be somewhere in this area here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just cut what we need with the plasma, make a plate to fill it. For the most part, I got everything cut out. Right now, I'm gonna get some 4-inch flat block to make my fill piece here. Nice fit. Everything is going to be built off of this plate right here for our upper bag bracket. So this is critical in making sure that this is fit up properly and welded in properly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to trim it back, get a nice fit up, get it tacked in, then we'll weld it off. And whenever you're welding, you want to get a nice weld, a nice fuse. You want to go from metal to metal. You don't ever want it to overlap completely and then just weld the outside. It's not going to get anything in there. It's not fusing anything. What I'm looking for on this is just trying to match the same radius here. Just I want that same roll all the way through so it looks like nothing was ever touched. It looks like it came like that. So just start on the flat spots first. I like to knock it down and make sure it's flat and then start rolling. So once I get it kind of close, I'll come back with the flat disc and then clean it up and get rid of most of these lines. Hit it with a DA or a wire wheel. I mean, that's pretty much it. I've been liking it. Looks real nice. We got work to do, man.
Ryan's putting together the last little bits of the front suspension on the old school Buick.
So this is exactly where it's going to be right here. Now everything's in place. I can just tie it to the top of the frame, get that tucked in there, throw a shock mount on here, and drop our motor in here pretty soon.
Yes, sir. Man, I get it. I totally know what you're talking about. You know what we can do? We can just pause on it, let you think about that. Once you think about it, let me know. We'll get back on it. All right.
Just the person I'm looking for.
Man, I just got off the phone with Javier, you know, with the Buick. He's not real sure of what engine he wants to put in it, so he wants to put that thing on pause for a minute. The customer needs some time to make the right decisions on the right engine, so we're going to give that to him. I get it, man. He wants to think about exactly what he wants. We don't want to give him nothing that he's not 100% sure about. The extra time always takes a toll on the bottom line, but that's what we're doing to make it right. Trust me, this thing will be perfect when it's finished.
Cut a piece 32 and 3. Don't chop it on top of the panel board.
It was a working dump truck, so the interior left a lot to be desired.
Just tape it to it.
You definitely can't have that, so John's gonna make it right.
We're building a big, badass dump truck, so we got to get something that's going to be utilitarian and follow along in design and keep up with the beating around this truck's going to get. So we're going to make some really cool door panels. The idea that we have here is we're going to make a metal kick plate. That way it's good and rugged for climbing in and out. You kick it with your boots, whatever, it's good to go. You know, this is kind of the fun part to me, the creative part. You know, you get in here, you get to lay this out. We're going to actually bring your idea into fruition. You know, with this truck, it's big, it's boxy, it's a beast coming down the road. So you open the door, you want to kind of have that same idea. It just needs to say, I'm ready to work. Next thing I'm gonna do, start cutting this apart, and we'll transfer it onto the base panels, and we'll get it foamed up. Here's my foam. Time to get busy. Like I hadn't been busy already. Alright, now I'm just gonna trace this out. When you're cutting this foam down, if you put any kind of lean in it, and it will show up in the end, or it's tougher to have to sand out. So just kind of work keeping that blade straight up and down. We're actually going to put a beveled edge around this, and that way when it comes up, it'll dip down into the insert panel, up both sides. So just cool little detail, get all that thing beveled back, and once that's done, we put another layer over it. I'm going to wrap the doors in marine vinyl while Jamie's cutting out the steel for the kick plates.
This is going to look really good on the door panels that John's doing. I went ahead and cut this out of 18 gauge steel, just sheared it. Now I'm going to cut it to the right size, go ahead and prep the material, and I'll bring it back to it. All right, looks good. I'm happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and bring John, go ahead and do a test fit real quick and go from there.
See how she fits. Cool, man. Perfect fit.
Cool. Well, let me go knock out the mother 3.
Can't wait to get over to the body shop and let them get this thing painted, get this door panel together. It'll look pretty cool.
It's going to look nice.
Man, old Ernest did really, really good. I mean, all the angles look exactly perfect, exactly what I wanted. So next step is just get this up here and start shaping it. Hey, pretty soon we'll have a running board.
Put your hand out there.
So about 5 inches. And we made it a little bit too long so we could shrink it down, cut a little here, a little there, make this thing fit perfect. From the front fender well all the way to the bed.
Man. That's a big difference. That's nice. It's going to make it real easy to get right on up in here.
Next step is just shaping it perfect to the fender itself.
Pretty cool little trick right there.
Used to have a sign company across the street. Showed me that. Of course, we just could have squared the ends off and put it on. You know, taking the time to shape it, to make it fit the truck.
It's like the front just right here needs to come in a little bit.
As if it would have came from the factory like that. That's what I want it to look like in the end. You know, no matter what we're working on, a little extra time, a little extra cut, a little extra weld makes a huge statement in the overall project. Can't wait to see this thing black up against that gray. It's really going to finish the whole thing off.
My name L1 actually means little one, and I got that name around the age of 14. Doing electrical, body shop, and paint, I always wanted to keep on learning, keep on going to the next thing. Start from the bottom, work your way to the top. You gotta know how to do every single part of the job. The first thing I learned how to do was actually sweep up a shop. If you don't know how to sweep up a shop, then you shouldn't be doing much of anything else. I'm not done learning yet. This is me with 10 years experience. I want to see myself with 20 years experience, 30 years experience. You always want to get something right and then keep on learning, but you got to learn the right way with the right people. If you're not open-minded to learn from others, then you're not going to get very far in this business. I like working at Extensive. The talent here is so diverse, and it's just crazy the amount of knowledge that you can gain. If something breaks, you make it. If you can't find it, you make it. If you can't do it, you make it and you do it. And that's why we keep building the best things that come out.
And like that, what was an ugly international dump truck has become something else entirely. Installing the seats, doors, running board, 10-inch tall tires. There won't be another custom truck quite like this on the road.
Hey, Bill, what's up?
Hello.
Hi, and good to see you as always.
Same.
What up, Johnny? I've known John Wood for quite some time. I love this guy, but I love messing with him too.
You got some news for me?
Well, I wanted you to come out and check this thing out. I got a couple questions on it.
That usually means there's problems, so how much more money do I owe you?
Right. I called him in, told him we had a couple issues with this truck. You already know how rough that thing is.
It shouldn't have any rust. It was covered with tar.
You know, I can tell right now he's super worried. He thinks it's going to cost him a lot. You ready to go check it out?
Yeah, let's go see what we got going. It always bothers me when you say you have a problem and you want me to... Oh, that's not a problem. That's done. You lied to me. You're lying to my hand. Holy, that's beautiful. And it's not yellow.
Of course, there was a couple problems, but now it definitely runs and
that
drives.
Thing is bad, eh?
It's ready to roll, John.
It's really, really neat.
What do you think about the bumper on this thing? Split it, added 8 inches, made this thing way bigger with the big winch on it.
Added a winch. He even added a winch. I didn't ask Quith. We're going to get it stuck sooner or later, and we're going to need the thing. I knew it was big when I saw it at the office, but in here, this thing's huge.
It was already big, but it's way, way, way bigger now.
The color choice was good.
Right? Getting rid of the school bus yellow was most definitely an essential part of the build. Changing it to gunmetal gray and making it a two-tone, it was definitely the right way to go.
Well, that's very different.
Right? You had creative fixes all throughout. This thing was a fire hazard for sure. My one-way diesel guys came in, they just fixed everything and addressed all the issues.
I knew it was bad. I had no idea it was actually a fire hazard. I'm glad they fixed it all up because, you know, I have employees that are going to drive it and it has to be safe. Wow.
What do you think about this thing?
I love it. This is great.
Right? This is way better before. Those old steps on this thing, you can see all the frame. Couldn't have that new running boards on this thing and integrated the steps in it.
Vertically challenged, dude. I have to wait to get up there. You refinished it all. New seats, carpet, door panels. Wow. Wow. I bet it doesn't even stink in
new smell in there. Just had to rip all that out. Had the seats redone, got new carpet in it, and there was no door panels in this thing.
Right.
So John and Daniel hooked you up with that. You know, we could have just wrapped this thing, changed the color.
This is way better than a wrap.
You know, this is going to represent your company and mine, so we got to do this thing right, man.
Absolutely. Now on to the good stuff.
Right? What do you think about that?
It looks correct.
No more dump truck, right?
No more dump truck for sure.
Cut the back of the frame off, scooted the axle forward. All the suspension was all handmade underneath this thing. It's got a huge 4-link on this with big triple bellow bags, so you can haul whatever you put on the back of this thing can haul it.
Wow.
And ride.
And ride
super
good.
Smooth. And the bed was built specifically for this truck. You see the big wheel well opening.
Yeah.
So what do you think, man? Is this going to work for you?
Absolutely. I'm afraid to scratch it now. The bed scale matches the truck scale with the giant wheels and tires. It's a functional truck, and we're going to work this truck. You can tell the people that do this, they're craftspeople.
That's right. We all have passion for what we do, for sure. You know, this is just one more example just to show how good a guy in the shop just kicked ass time and time and time again. I know this thing is going to do everything you could ever want with it and even way, way more.
Thank you.
This crazy high, it's going to command attention.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this.
Wait till you see all the speakers that's going to go in that bed. This thing is going to be loud. It's always cool to work on your own project. There's no limitations. It's on you. Come on out with it. This is going to be the king around here.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, back in 2011, we took a Suburban, cut
cut that thing in half and made it a 2-door Tahoe. You know, back when this was built, this was a shocker for the world. 8 years later, you can still take this thing to just a prime example of something I wanted myself to have a business card for Extensive and really set its mark in the custom world. You know, every year I try to top myself to really build something really cool over the top, and we're definitely not done doing that.
Ooh. Pulling out of retirement?
Got a guy won this thing, so we're gonna meet him at a local little car show up in Tyler, where I'm gonna hand over the keys, man.
Wait, like it's leaving?
It's
like...
leaving.
Oh, man.
It's still gonna continue to go to car shows. It'll just be kind of like a foster home for it.
Okay, cool.
Time to move on, right?
Yeah.
It's time for something new. You know, it's time for this to go. We're gonna load it up, take it to a local car show. This turbine's gonna start its new life with its new owner. I hate selling this thing, but it's gonna fund the new over-the-top project. We're out at Turkey Drag Car Show. You know, it's always good to get out of the shop, come see what's going on, see some cool cars. Today's kind of bittersweet though. Part of the family's leaving, but you know, it's always nice to get that little check also. Man,
All right.
you made it?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, you finally getting to see this thing in person?
I've been looking for this truck for 8 years.
Yeah?
It's amazing. This truck is super cool, man. Something like nobody else has. That's exactly what I want. One day, a friend of mine, he called me. He says, hey, they got it for sale. So I made the call. We pulled the trigger, and we're here.
What's your favorite thing about this?
I like the way you did it. When we shorten it, make it 2-door. That's the only one on the ear. I gotta have it, bro.
It's really cool. Antonio's been following this car, you know, for 8.5 years, and he's finally seeing it in person.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about, man.
You know, it's the factory 5.3 in this thing, but it's just all cleaned up. It doesn't look like that factory engine anymore, right?
No, it don't look like it no more, man. You can see it from every angle. You can see everything, something different.
If you like this, you're definitely going to like the interior.
I think it's crazy, man. You got speakers everywhere, man.
3 big 12s in the back. You see the big hole in the roof. That's out of a Cadillac SRX. You can't buy one that big. Cut that out of another roof and then graft it into this one.
I think it's my right size, man. Yeah.
You know, when Antonio's sat in this seat, I can tell he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Man, look at that. Man,
it's got a ton of power back here, right?
Man, I would like to
put home and somebody that really appreciates this. Enjoy it, man. Need something, holler. Looking at this thing for the last time, we done a good job on it. I can't thank all my guys enough for all the late nights and hard work, because as you can see in the car show here, it's still holding its weight. You know, I've gone to shows East Coast to West Coast, almost every state. You see a bunch of lowered trucks, lifted trucks, people trying to creep up on us. You know, we can't be having that. That just makes me want to build just something over the top, just lifted super high. If you're going to build a lifted truck, you want something totally different that nobody's seen before. This is the truck to get. I've got a 2020 Chevrolet medium duty that is just going to be insane. The medium duty trucks are in between a 1-ton and an 18-wheeler, so just putting it way up in the air is definitely something you don't see ever. It's gonna command attention no matter where it goes. This is gonna be the king around here. Is the truck brand new? Yes. Are we gonna pull it in the shop and tear it totally apart and start over? Absolutely. Tire company's gotta love you.
What is this, test drive or what?
Well, yeah, test drove it. It's my new project. Oh, Lord. You always got to have the bigger, fatter, right? Just the natural progression. Taking a medium duty,
putting our spin on it, our style to it, is just going to put us over the top again.
I'm scared to see what you're going to come up with next after this one's that high. But I got you a bay open. Let's go ahead and pull it in there and we'll get it racked up.
So you got me a spot?
Got you a spot.
Let's do it. You know, always before starting a project like this, you always get a little anxious. Just, you can't really wait to get started working on this. I mean, it's still, you know, a passion for all of us. It's the anticipation of getting the thing done, getting it out of the road, and just having a good time with it. It doesn't get any better than that. Most of the time you start to create the canvas and then add to that also. So the finished product is just going to be something that's going to blow everybody away. You know, I love being able to prove myself, to prove my team to everybody. Building a lifted truck, that's fun for me. But building a super huge dually truck that's going to end up being, you know, over 12,000 pounds when we're done, super high off the ground, that's just something I got to have in my life. What you think about this, James?
Man, that's brand new. I ain't seen one of these yet.
Right? Man, I got some big plans for this. You know, first things first, we're going to get this thing up on the lift, and then we're just going to build a crazy drop-down air suspension with the big shocks. You know, huge 4-link on this thing with the big 1-inch Heims, super thick DOM. I mean, this thing's going to be bulletproof. And you know I got to have some big wheels and tires on this thing. Definitely. I want to keep that dually in the back, too. Raising this thing up, we're not shooting for a specific amount of inches. I want this thing way off the ground. We're just going to lift this thing till it looks right. When it looks right, we'll go a little bit higher. Because this thing's going to be crazy high. You know, look at the steps on this. This definitely isn't going to cut it. So we're going to build some custom run crawl up in this big old thing. And as far as the bed, you know, I want to do like a utility style bed with the toolboxes on.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this with the air suspension.
Yeah, you don't ever see anything like that.
I've never seen nothing like that.
Wait till you see all the speakers and all the stereo that's going to go in that bed.
Oh, man.
You know we got to have it loud. You know it's got to be loud. They go by you like, man, what? Why? I want that feel of industrialism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This front end's a little bit too shiny for you.
Man, we got to get rid of all that. You know, spray it all black, get rid of the chrome, make this thing cool. We're going to have to step it up in the interior, too.
Yeah.
You know, leather inside, suede headliner. And this thing doesn't even come with carpet. Of course, we're going to put that in it, too. We're going to make the inside just plush as can be.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Well, if you can't wait, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
This thing is almost 6 tons stock. Because this thing is so big, we're going to take a few extra precautions. And Jamie's going to weld some extensions directly to the lift so we can pick this thing up safely.
Oh, that's nice. This truck was barely stocked for maybe a couple days, and it's already up on the lift. All right, so go ahead and separate the axles from the leaf springs. Go ahead and lift up the frame, then go ahead and pull the leaf springs.
We're going to be taking this thing to car shows all over, but it's not just about the trophy. This thing is going to be able to get to work too. So Rudy's going to start burning the hangers and brackets with all 5/16 plate.
Being that this is typically just used for work and never lifted, we had to build some extra heavy-duty hangers to support the whole weight of this work truck. If these things aren't strong enough, then our whole 4-link system will just collapse and be worthless.
You know, the next step we're doing this huge lift, huge super heavy lift, is building the 4-link brackets on the rear end. Rudy cut some 5/16 plate. This allows the 4-link to mount from the truck to the rear end and everything pivot. I mean, this is where all the stopping, starting, pulling power is all transferred into these pivot points here. Especially as high as this thing's going to be, all the weight is compounded. So this thing has to be really, really strong. This is a major point of the whole suspension. When you're lifting a big Silverado 5500 over a foot in the air, you know, the 4-link has to be not only super strong and support all the weight that's going to be way up in the air. You know, it's got to look cool too. You know, one of the things that makes this thing super strong is the 1-inch FK Heims are really, really strong. So we're going to use that in conjunction to some really thick DOM, and that's going to make it so we never have to worry about that whatsoever.
All right, got my hives bolted up, all exactly the same, so we're gonna go ahead and bolt this up to the truck and continue with our 4-link. Now we got our 4-link bolted up. These things look beefy. So we can go ahead and start setting up our diagonal link. A diagonal link in a wishbone is always gonna keep your rear end completely centered through all of its range of travel. This sucker right here is gonna make sure that the whole rear end is nice and straight as it travels up and down. I only wish I could say the same thing about my back right now.
This thing comes with power steering, but to save a little space, we're going to convert everything into all hydraulic steering.
So this big steering gearbox is going to have to go. We're going to get rid of this one and install a new hydraulic steering system. All right, so you can see our old gearbox is a whole lot bigger than our new one. In this case, looks can be deceiving. This small little guy here is going to do just as much as our big one here. This right here is basically our servo. All it does is transfer all the hydraulic fluid down to our hydraulic pump, which is going to be placed on the axle somewhere. Went ahead and made a brand new mount for our hood strut. That way we don't lose the support for our hood. All right, we got our servo bolted up, linked up to our steering shaft. Everything looks good. And then the fun part, figuring out where that goes.
What we're doing now is mounting the hydraulic cylinder to the axle. We got a rolled piece of pipe that we had laying around the shop, so we're going to make 3 separate pipes to hold the hydraulic cylinder for the steering to mount it right to the axle. I mean, we could use a straight piece of pipe, but it'd look way cooler to have a little style to it and use the rolled pipe and be super strong also. The cylinder where we want, we got the roll tubing connecting the axle to the mount. It looks good. Super strong and stylish for sure.
Alright, now that we got our hydraulic cylinder mounted and welded up, we're going to go ahead and make 2 rods, one for each side, to connect from the cylinder to our spindle. That way when our cylinder starts pushing those rods out left and right, our truck will go left or right. So just to make sure that our new tie rod ends are exactly the same, we're going to go ahead and jig up the first one I just welded up. That way my second one will bolt up just exactly like the first one. Got our first new tie rod made. Go ahead and duplicate it and make another one. Tie rods are in, as you can see. As our cylinder pushes in and out, it's going to steer our truck left and right.
We're going to start building the air suspension, and straight pipe is never a good idea. We want something with a little style. So Max is about to get out and get to it of rolling a lot of pipe and tubing for my truck to build the bag mounts, shock mounts, and just make it look cool. We're going to do things a little different this time. Instead of putting the lower bag mounts in place and then building down to the axle, I think what we'll do is take the lower bag mount off, build it on the table.
That way I don't have to keep crawling under here and throwing my back out every time I get in here.
Right. I got that. We can just simulate the axle with a piece of pipe on the table and build our pipe all to that. So we're going to make all of our pieces fit in a little square here.
You got it?
I know you do.
Main thing here is just trying to make everything look symmetrical. It's kind of different not doing it on the truck, but our simulated axle, Everything's gonna fit right on there, like if it was on the truck. It's gonna save my back and my knees and lots of time. All right, we got all these welded up. Now we go slap these on the truck.
Heck yeah, Rudy. That's gonna work good. Let's get the other side on, and then we'll put our straight edge across here and clamp it. And that, instead of trying to spend the time to level everything, you know it's 100% perfect. Weld that sucker out, and then we'll move to the uppers.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
That is what we like to call rap. Man, these are some big old shocks. These shocks are gonna be able to hold up all the hard work this truck's gonna go through.
We got both sides punched. Got our shock mount in the right spot. I'm just gonna drill it. Drill that side. Everything's gonna be 100% true, so the truck goes perfectly leveled when you're going down the road.
I don't know if you noticed it. There's a sign over there. Do not drill or weld frame.
What do you think, Rudy? This big old shock looks perfect proportion to this big old truck, right?
Doesn't even look that big when it's on the truck.
Right? That's it, man. This is the last little bit of the suspension. This thing's ready to get blown apart and get coated.
Shoot, well, let's do it.
You know, it's always good to be in this part of the process, you know, having all the fabrication done, all the figuring out is done, all the mental anguish is over. Every part of the process from now on is just improvements. It's about to be the payoff for all the hard work. For the Chevy Silverado 5500. This thing is cool, but this is just a starting platform for what I'm thinking. It's always cool to be able to work on your own project. There's no limitations. There's nobody telling you, what to do, what they want. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can dream of, it's on you.
Yeah, but this much more. Come forward.
That's what the shop's all about, is building cool cars, and especially one that stands out from all the rest of the builds, all the rest of the cars around. You want to make something that just has your personality built in with it. Man, I love this point of the build. Just start to see all the big pieces come together. Makes for a really good day, especially something like this. To see a service bed like this with a truck like this is going to be real cool, especially when it's real high up in the air. Getting excited. The more I look at this thing together, the wheels are turning, getting a few more ideas to really top this thing off. Definitely got to get rid of this.
He just can't leave well enough alone, can he?
Man, this is the point. This isn't well enough. I just love this truck, how everything's looking, but the trailer lights in this thing just kill it. So what I did, man, I had this little plate lasered out for the triple stack of the ABS LEDs. So I'll just cut this thing out, weld this right in. No more trailer lights. Man, I love the style of this bed. I love the work truck feel of this truck, but it's got to have something all the other ones. So the way the new bumper is going to look with the lines on the running board, and they carry on to the lines around the bed. The triple stack lights are just really going to go with the whole overall feel of the truck.
Looks like you're adding some TVs to the back of your truck.
I would have 10 years ago. We have them all over the place. Tim's grinding down the light panel we made. He's getting a little bit of bevel all the way around it. So when we weld the light panel into the bed, I'll bevel this a little also. We'll grind this thing down nice and flush. No powder coat left on it, so you want it metal to metal.
nice weld, nice grind, and very little body filler. And this thing's gonna look super smooth.
These lights are going to go in from the back side. This is the bucket that holds the LEDs. So to make a stud on here to hold these buckets, I'm going to drill it all the way through. Then I'll take a bolt and cut the head off. And this side, where the hole is, we'll tack it. Once we do that, it'll hold the bucket tight, hold it against here, it'll be bright, and it'll be better for the weather.
Let's do this, Timmy. You know, the key to doing this type of metal work is making it totally flush. So a little trick is rubbing your fingernail back and forth. That way you know for sure that one isn't sticking up higher than the other. Just ensures for a nice, even, smooth weld and grind. We got our lifted suspension back from powder coat, and I'm really happy we went with gold.
I don't know, it came out pretty good.
It looks good. It looks like something you go buy at the store, right?
Yeah.
So let's start getting all the suspension components bolted up underneath there, you know, the hangers, the bag mounts and everything, and then we'll put the axles in so we're not working around all that. Hold on. Where are you at?
I need to come over, it's right here.
Okay, look. Let it touch the frame a minute. I ain't enough.
Gotta open more.
That's 33 3/4. This is 34 1/4 now. Got a long way to go. So what we're doing is overspreading this so we can install it and not scratch our frame up. Like the welding process, the heat makes everything distort a little bit, move and wander around. So we're overspreading it, putting up in place, so when we put the bolts in, it's going to cinch it all up super tight. We're good to go. See, just little tricks like that make all the difference in the world.
Nice and tight, looking right.
I'm going to try to pull this up with straps from the truck itself and try to cause as minimum damage as we can.
You know, when you're building these things, people think this is decorative, but really it's not. Each pipe displaces the weight on the bag mount. If you had one, it'd try to teeter-totter. Two would rock the other way. Four makes it solid. So the more you can get, just the better, the beefier to hold up. And this being a 1.5 ton, you're gonna need all the bag mount, all the support you can get. Now you can see this just completes the whole big, massive, heavy look of the truck we're going for. Just in your face, massive.
Small speaker there. Another small speaker there.
Lifting a brand new Silverado 5500 is definitely going to turn heads. But I also want to make this thing really loud. So John's going to customize the headache rack with a pair of handmade speaker pods, just like you'd see on a wakeboard boat.
We're going to use these speakers as a chipboard and arrange it up here and see how it looks the best. And once it looks good, we'll make it out of metal. I think we'll put a couple bends in it. Give it some character. We'll cut this base plate out, and then we're gonna end up connecting this to the headache rack with a bunch of little pieces to give it that wakeboard style setup. We'll get this template off of here, go trace it on some metal and cut it out. Doing custom work like this is always fun. I'm so used to doing, you know, suspension work and metal work, but when it comes to doing metal work outside the box, it's always fun to do something different. Now I got the outside shape cut out. What I'm gonna do is mark 1.25 inches all the way around, and I'm gonna cut that out, and it's gonna leave me 1.25 inch flange to go mount up on the headache rack. And I did a radius here where the speaker's gonna be at. Change it up a little bit. Now all these straight lines were easy because I just, you know, run a torch along a straight edge. It's all about finding a right spot to hold this torch and just pivot it around. Keep it steady. Stumble a little bit, the torch is gonna move, and I'm gonna mess this piece up. I'm gonna start all over. That's how you get it done. I'm gonna
drawn me some lines where I know to set this up in the metal brake and give it a little break here and there to give it that crazy shape that we're looking for. Now we got a little personality to this. The only thing I gotta do is do the exact same thing to the other piece. We're gonna get to cutting. We're gonna remove all of this out of there. We don't need it. It's gonna give us a much cleaner look without it. I'm free. No more locked doors. Now it's time to clean this up. Take some of this paint off so we can tack our new pieces on. That way we can get these cool tower speakers built on this headache rack. We got everything grinded, sanded down, nice and clean. Now we can see what we got to work with. What I'm going to do now is tack me a couple pieces from here to the headache rack, and then we're going to start building our plates off of that. Now I got the frames all on there. Now it's time to fit the speakers inside the frame to see how they fit all in there. This is looking really cool. Imagine this going down the road, music blaring.
The new wheels are 28 by 8 1/4, and our new tires are 42 by 15 50s. You know, they're way too big for our tire machine. So Tim's gonna take them somewhere that'll handle the job.
Should be 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us, man.
It's on there. Phase 1.
We're gonna let this beautiful machine here and that robo arm kind of push down on these sidewalls so we can get underneath there and make sure that thing fits for you.
Usually the shop, if we have something big like this, we gotta grab some big pro bars and do it on the ground. Like butter. See if we can get some air in this bad boy and get it rolling.
So because we work on everyday cars, this actually has a regulator on there to keep my guy safe. Because this is a 1550 on a 28 8 1/4 wheel, we're gonna hook up a direct line and just straight on air. There it goes. That's good. Perfect. Done.
Woo. Man, I was just joking about 10 or 15 minutes, but y'all made that look super easy.
You got it, good.
What's up, man?
That's looking good, man.
Yeah, once that grill's in there, man, it's gonna look really good.
We definitely want to take our time to make it right. You know, get the angles right. You want to look at it wherever you're at it. You want it to look cool.
Coolness from every angle.
Right. Finishing the sides and boxing it in is going to be pretty critical on something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I got the chipboard, got the tape. Start making it.
Hell yeah.
The puzzle has begun.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you just never know where this is gonna take you, right? It's a work bed, but you still want it to look cool. You want it different, right? You don't want it to be like the same one going down the street.
Yeah. If I was to see this thing going down the road, I'd be like, man, I want one of those.
Right. So it's a great start right here. You're creating the coolness factor as we go. So you want to really get back once you get a couple steps in. We'll get back and really look, see how that's flowing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about custom, right? Is making it your own, making it cool, making somebody go, man, that's cool. Yeah. That's what we do this for. It's got a little flatness right here. Let's get a back piece on here. See if we can change it up a little bit. Yeah, man, that looks good. Yeah.
Bill got a good start on laying this out for me, so I know exactly what he wants. Now I could go and take his template, trace this on some metal, get to cutting and breaking it. I'm gonna start breaking on here, and then I'm gonna break this line, and I'll do the two ends last. And by doing this, we'll get one nice clean piece with a few breaks in it instead of a bunch of welding going on, which will tend to cause warping. Now we got the outside cap. I'm gonna start building this inside piece for the bottom. I'm getting all my measurements off of what we already built here and transferring them over to this piece of sheet metal that's gonna fit these contours here. I'm gonna take it over to the brake, bend it. And it's just so much better trying to do this as one piece of metal than having so much work on the body guys. They could give me a pat on the back when I'm done. I'm gonna tack this up here, front and back, and then trim up all the excess. Now we got the bottom panel in, we can continue over the top, connect the two. Because the issue I'm having is the speaker mount is higher than the rest. And I'll go back and mold this in with some more material and make it look like it's supposed to be like that. And it is supposed to be like that. Shh, don't tell nobody. Get that all molded up and make it look good. This is one of those things that had to be done for clearance issues, but at the same time of just notching it out, we could also make it look cool.
Man, John, this thing looks so good. That's something you definitely don't see every day, right?
Right, definitely.
This thing is going to be loud. Having built a few lifted trucks in our day, you got to think about how you're going to climb up in it. So we made some brand new running boards for our Chevy 5500. We got the truck over on the 4-post lift. It's way easier to work on this thing, perfect height, just the height you're working at, and no post in the way. What we did is take off the factory steps, and they're going to replace it with a piece of sheet metal that we had in our spot for our toolboxes. Cleans it up a lot, huh? Hides all that. And gives it a little style too. Way better. Now it looks complete. Let's give it a quick little rough cut. Anytime you're doing something like this where, you get one shot at it, it's a little bit of work taking this thing on and off, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but it's a lot more work to go back and have to recreate something you already cut off too much of. Looks like a factory part. I guess the next step is cutting the holes out, and we'll get these boxes in. Man, I kind of like it right there. Little cut lines. Man, that looks way better, huh? No more flatness. Gives us some depth, and it's useful. Take some measurements here. The speaker pods are done, but we're not finished with the audio. I want to fill some of the built-in boxes in the bed with speakers and amps. And John's over in the interior shop making some amp racks right now.
We got 9 amplifiers total going in this thing. This thing's going to be a monster. Get the breath. And when we have the other set of amplifiers stacked over here, we'll be able to just travel up and down through here with our wires and get this thing drawn out and make a pretty cool looking little amp rack. And we'll get all those cut out. We'll have amplifier here. Bam, bam, bam. Next thing I'm going to do, cut out some 1/4-inch strips, get them stapled on. We'll go over the router, plus trim all this out. So next step I got is take my template that I made, transfer it over onto the aluminum so I can go rough cut it out. By far the worst part of working with aluminum is having to rough cut it because you have to do it by hand. All you can do is just get after it and cut it and settle in for a long journey because it's not easy. Alright, we just take our double-sided stick tape here, lay it up, get it stuck to this aluminum. Basically what we've got here is some dish soap. I like to use this stuff here for a lubricant for cutting aluminum. If you mess up cutting it, there's no fixing it. You just throw it away and start all over, and that's never fun for anybody. I've watched guys lose their jobs over scrapping parts. Not something I want to do. Alright, pull these apart. Alright, clean this off. Go over to Jesse, get him to...
Bill can't leave well enough alone. He'd have to go get 2 speakers out of the shop. So I brought him a box. He said, no, 2 boxes. So he's going to pull more speakers to the front. So the back's going to be loud, and now the front's going to be loud.
My brand new Silverado medium duty is almost done. We're going to add a winch and a place for even more speakers. Man, this is exactly what this thing has to have, some kind of forward projection. So the 6.5-inch wake tower speakers are just perfect.
Really hope people like Bill's music. You're going to be listening to exactly what he's listening to.
After all the work we did to the bed, it's time to get it over to body and paint so we can color match everything all black.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in.
Now the only thing left is putting all the pieces together.
Good morning. Yeah.
We're installing the amp rack, running boards, and speaker grills. Huge billet dually wheels, and then it's ready for its world premiere. You know, it's great working with great craftsmen, and it's even cooler to work with. Strive to do better and do better and do better.
I never had an older brother, so I've always looked at Bill as that older brother you look up to that always had the cooler stuff. Way older brother.
Me and Tim have this kind of sibling rivalry for sure. We're always pushing each other, you know, when we're building things for ourselves. He's working on his own car. You go by, you're like, oh man, what is, you gonna let this get by, Tim? I don't let him get by with stuff he would, you know, try to do on his truck, and him the same with me.
We have a competition with each other, but we want the best for his, best for mine. End of the day, we're still putting extensive on both of them. So he and I do push each other to go to the max, because it's us against everybody, not just him against me. You know, we're trying to set the bar on the whole car industry. Thanks, older bro.
Every year we have an open house at the shop. We got friends, family, old customers, and hopefully some new ones. And I can't wait to show them what we've been up to. It's always cool to, you know, have parties like this, have an open house, and just, you know, see what comes through the door. And
For sure.
Stuff like this is exactly what, you know, gets me excited. You know, you never know what's going to come through the gate, but you got to go see what's going on. How old is he?
4 months.
4 months? Man, he is cool. Man, this thing's crazy. You know, there's a certain kind of person that loves lifted trucks. And for them, a brand new Chevy 5500 medium duty, 14 inches in the air, is going to blow them away.
Hey, you guys, come on over. I'm going to show you guys something. Come on. Come on over.
For real, thank you guys for coming out, you know, and always supporting, you know, myself, my team, Extensive. It says a lot to me, you know, you guys coming out. I know it's free food and free beer, but thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
All you guys together, you know, I want you guys to check out the latest Extensive build and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
All right, Timmy, come on out with it. Example of just teamwork makes the dream work. Brand new medium duty Silverado. When I got this thing, it was just a cabin chassis, just basic work truck, no frills whatsoever. So first thing we did is got it in the shop, put it on the lift, and got it at the height that looked good. Push the button again, a little higher. Push the button again, a little. All right, cool. Get the axles down in the right spot and just build everything from the truck down to the ground. Starting out with the big, huge 4-link underneath this thing, big bags. This thing gets 14 inches of lift from all the way down to all the way up, totally adjustable. You know, if you're gonna have a big 4x4 truck like this, you gotta have some unique, cool wheels on this thing. 28-inch dually wheels with big 42-inch tall tires. You know, I wanted to go something totally different and do a utility bed. You know, nobody does a bed like this on a truck like this.
Typical Bill fashion, when we got the bed, couldn't leave well enough alone. You think you can bolt the bed on this thing? Yeah, I never worked with Bill Carlton. He had to change up the whole bed, tail light, side, added some speakers on the top.
Well, if you're gonna have a stereo, you gotta have a stereo. I wanted like a wakeboard style stereo in the headache rack. Somebody behind me, they ain't gonna be able to hear either. And we put 10 Rockford Tower speakers all throughout the bottom of this thing. So not only that, it's gonna hit just as good. There's a ton of stereo just inside also. You know, we utilize every compartment in this thing just to be loud. From the speakers behind the grill to the winch, this thing's ready to party and get to work. Now you gotta be able to get in this big old truck, right? So had to make some steps, had to build some running boards and incorporated, toolboxes in this thing just to break up some of the smoothness that's in between there. Tie everything together and give it a little style. I really appreciate all you guys coming out and checking this thing out. Another example, teamwork right here. And this is what happens. Everybody comes together and makes some cool stuff. You guys walk around this thing, check it out. Let me know how we did.
Truck is unreal. I'd love to build something like this one day.
When they did the speakers up here, that's amazing, man. I mean, you don't see that type of work made out of metal. Big 42 tires on them 28s, they're wrapped pretty good looking.
Man, I love this Bill, man. Bill showed out again, man. I'm definitely going to pull up to the shop and take this one out on the weekend and pull up to the club. And
reaction of these guys, we did what we were supposed to do. When you're building a custom truck, every part and piece plays upon the whole bed. There's so much customization on this thing. It'd take you 2 hours to see everything that's going on from bumper to bumper. This thing's going to bring a lot of business to the